basically built with a composite volume profile. Basically built with a composite volume profile, which is the volume profile of the entire chart that you see on screen. Then you have cash session profiles. So this is the cash session, right? The regular trading hour, which has just started.
Tired of overpriced, underpowered hosting? At Server, our cloud VPS plans are built for pros who demand more.
The mindset is, you know, the mindset is, you know, the chances of you winning that is next to zero. So many degrees, you're not winning. Let's put it that way. But people still pay. To play that. Because the idea is, yeah, the odds are so far against me, but it only costs me $1. Now let's take a step back. Nobody's getting rich on that $1 being spent. And these funded companies aren't getting rich by your measly little $99. But they are getting with the masses that keep doing that same thing, just like the lottery administration. It's in their advantage to give you the freedom and rope to hang yourself. But they didn't kick the chair out from underneath you, so they're not the bad guy. They laid a single round of ammunition on you. They laid an empty handgun on the table in front of you. They made this Russian roulette available for you to play, but you decided to pick the bullet up. You placed it in the chamber. You spun it and put it to your head. Whose fault is it when you pull the trigger? What consequence and result after you pushing that trade, doing that thing that you did? Who's going to have the responsibility when that trigger's pulled? Not them. Their hands are clean. They're getting paid. And they don't care if you go away, because there's going to be someone else that's going to jump in their spot, your spot, everyone else's spot that says, I'm tapped out. I can't afford more. That same, I might not win, and there's a lot of things saying I can't likely succeed doing this, but if I win, I can get through the step one faster. Like that's somehow going to change your level of discipline, personal responsibility. And now you're going to suddenly follow the rules? You won't. Because now you're going to say, well, listen, I just took 10 contracts and I made $1,500 on 3 handles. What seemed like seconds. It only took me seconds to do that. Well, let me just go in there with my live each 2 funded account. And I can just do that every day. That's not the model. That's not the model. You're going to make every excuse to do the wrong things. Like a married man that caught the eye of another woman that he knows he should not talk to. He knows where she's at. And he's making excuses. Honey, we need bread. No, I got bread today. All right, well, I'm going to go get some soda. What do you need soda for? I don't know, I'm thirsty. You're doing anything you can to get out of the house, to go find yourself in the position to be in that step 2 funded position where you can over leverage and play Russian roulette with a hoochie mama. That's human nature. That's a character flaw. You're inviting chaos. You're asking for it. In this case, you're buying it. You're paying for it. And while they may make available all these things, if you don't do the right thing by having less leverage, don't give them the opportunity to see you fail so quickly and easily, because they know the majority of you are going to over leverage. They know you want to get to the part that makes money, and they have a 90% likelihood that you aren't never getting there. And even if you did and you get lucky, maybe one payout, oh, great. Your greed's going to tap you there and say, okay, I need to make more, or I need to go quicker this time. All they have to do is sit back and let circumstances be what they are. Recklessness and chaos shows up. And for a period of time, for those that are getting lucky with it, ego is going to be that friend that leads you to ruin. I'm always going to be able to make money now. Look at me. We are. And unfortunately, that kind of mindset leads to ruin. So don't invite it. Don't make it about a spectacle. Don't make it about over-the-top types of results or Olympic-sized feats or speed at which you get to stage 2. Take your time. Relax. Just relax. One day like today, anybody that uses what I'm teaching could get funded to stage 2 in a day like today with one contract. That's not impossible. One contract that could have been done today. But you're looking at a move like today and you're thinking, if I had 5 contracts here and 5 contracts here and 5 contracts there. Yeah, you could have. It could have been like that for you. But do you have that experience yet? Probably not. So don't have your expectations so high and lofty where it's easy for you to fall and not feel like you can do it. In other words, don't set yourself up for more than just a temporary failure, because traders and trading is a lifetime of failure. How you deal with that? I ask that question on my interviews now. You know, how do my students that are funded and consistently making money, how do they deal with losing? Everybody does something different. Some people take it harder than others. Other people say, well, it sucks, but I ain't worried about it. I'm going to do the next trade because that trade didn't lose enough for me to feel like I've been beaten. Now contrast that with, I'm not going to stick to a model. I'm going to over leverage. I'm going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing because it only costs me $99 to reset. Aren't they saying the same thing? The trader that has a model is taking very small calculated risks that sometimes does not pan out. And that small loss is insignificant in the grand scheme of their entire career as a trader, as a speculator. And they're not worried about trying to avoid the losing trade because the model and the rules say, do this. And this is what should happen. If it doesn't, you're not abandoning that model because it didn't pan out for you, that transaction. And the loss was insignificant. It will not have such a weight on your psyche. So that way, when you look at price action, you won't be thinking, this is generally, in other times, this is a trade I would be taking. But I'm going to wait for confirmation now because I have to make sure. Why? Why would you feel that? because you've taken a loss that's larger than you were comfortable with. If you're trading with a quote unquote $150,000 account and you're using a 5-handle stop loss on one contract, you're risking what? $2. That's not $3,000. That's a very, very small, insignificant amount. So it gives you wiggle room. How many 5 handles form over the course of a week? Lots of them. Some form at specific times of the day that are very predictable. You don't trade 30 minutes before midnight, New York local time, because you're done playing Xbox Live with your buddies. And now let's go see if I can do something in the market. You don't do that. You have business hours. You stick to them. Bank of America is not open 24 hours. Okay, they have banking hours. You don't want to create this atmosphere in your trading where you feel like you have to always know what the next move is going to be. Narrative is understanding what the algorithm is going to do in price next. It is not an every second of the day narrative. The narrative is when we go into New York session, during this period, I'm looking for the algorithm to do a specific thing, behave a certain way, present an opportunity like the fair value gap, drawing to liquidity. That's a simple rule-based idea. It's time-based. Why would you want to complicate that? There's nothing easier than that. There really is nothing easier. Oh, you can just follow a moving average crossover. Okay. What time frame? What's your entry mechanism? Where's your stop? What are you reaching for? What's the target? See, yeah, I can play devil's advocate just like anybody else. And I can say something, and when I've said it, I have the luxury of coming back and saying, but what about this? And what about this? And what about this? So I cancel all that by sitting in front of you with a live 1-minute candlestick chart. And I tell you what's going to happen next. So all those other straw man arguments can't be used. We're all looking at that hard right edge. And you don't want to take these perfect opportunities to do all the wrong things, waste time, waste money, build up frustration, and now fear. Fear. When you first wanted to learn how to trade, were you scared? No. I mean, obviously you said, well, times you might lose money, but let me look into it further and see what's happening, because you're convinced if you look hard enough, you would find a way to never lose money. Let me remind you that doesn't exist. But when you first started and you wanted to get into this industry and find out more about it, you felt like a child on Christmas Eve. Like you couldn't wait to get more involved. And that's what it's like when students come to my YouTube channel. They get their hands in something like Model 2022, which is a hit the ground running approach. If you're brand new, you've never gone through any of my videos, 2022 model, there's 40 videos. That's where you start, because that right there will give you a 100% right now. Go into the charts and see it every day. You don't need to know anything about price action. Everything that's discussed in that 40 video series will give you enough to know that if that doesn't convince you that there's worth and value in what I'm teaching, if you don't see it there, don't waste any more time with me. Just move along, find somebody else, and I wish you good luck with it. I promise you, if you don't see the value in those 40 videos that communicates precision, time-based ideas, things that repeat a logic of knowing where to get in, where's your stop loss, where do you take partials, where's your target, Done. That's a complete 100%. Everything you're looking for when you buy a course, everything you're looking for when you join a mentorship, everything you're looking for if you're trying to buy a book that's supposedly tells you how to trade. That's everything. It's a one-stop, one-shop. There it is. And if you like that and you want to dig deeper, then go into the core content and all the other lessons I have on the YouTube channel at whatever pace and whatever direction you want to go. Because you'll have something that you're going into the charts, back testing and looking and studying, whether it be in old moves or real time, because that 2022 model is perfect. It's pure. It's easy. It may not be easy for you when you're brand new because there's a lot of things you have to understand, but spend time with it and you'll see right away that that is the easiest thing there is in trading. And it checks all the boxes that you would want for precision and algorithmic theory. There's nothing to guess about. It's logic. It's not flawed. It's proven. It makes money, and other people are making fortunes with it now. Yeah, I said fortunes. 6 figures, in my opinion, that's a small fortune. We're not talking about Mickey Mouse, dollar menu wages. That's a significant amount of money. It's a respectable measure of money. We're not talking about $1,000 to $500 here and there, which is still in some people's eyes valuable. If you made an extra $500 a month and that's all you could do, would you say, I don't want that $500? No, you wouldn't. So it's all about perspective. What you're looking for, you'll find it here. I'm not going to do anything for you. I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to tell you it's going to be hard. It's going to take longer than you want it to. And you're going to learn in a setting makes you no money. That's exactly how you want it. Doctors don't go out there and ask people to come off the streets and say, I'm studying for my exam tomorrow. Can I cut open your abdomen and remove your spleen? No, that's not happening. They use cadavers. Think. Do you want a surgeon that has never did any kind of cutting at all on a body to put their scalpel into you? Nobody's going to feel safe with that. So what experience do they have if you're the patient one that they're going to now treat? You're patient one. You don't know this. They're not saying, hey, nice to meet you. Congratulations, you're my first patient. I've never done surgery before. So what time do you want to come in? No, I'm out of here. See you later. So, but why would you expect anything different with your trading? You're that surgeon in trading. You're that doctor. I'll have to remind myself about, people are asking, why am I calling everybody doctor? I'll just say it now, because if I don't say it now, I'll probably forget about it. My 9th grade year in high school, I had a civics teacher. One of the coolest cats there was, man. He kind of reminded me of Martin Luther King, and he just was just real smooth, man. Just real smooth. Came in smooth, like he just scooted around, scooted through the hallways, scooted across the classroom. Sharp as a tack, really witty. And every time we would come into his classroom, everyone that came in and greeted him, he'd turn to him, small little smirk, doctor. And that was one of the coolest things I saw. And it made me feel cool when he would say it to me, and I could see the expression on the other students got, their face would, it would cause them to smile. And it resonated with me, and it stuck in my 9th grade year. And now when I greet my friends or associates that, that work with me, that's where I do it. It to me is one of those cool things that I saw someone that I looked up to, and it just resonated with me. Much like you all try to talk and sound like me because I've made an impression on you. Well, that's where I interviews. I'm greeting them. That's where that came from. So anyway, you're going through this process of learning how to trade. You're that surgeon in development. So learning how to do this in a condition where you can't cause any harm. The surgeon that's learning how to do a surgical procedure on a cadaver, are they afraid that they're going to put the cadaver in the ground or kill them? No. That body is dead. It's been submitted to the Department of Science, and they're making that body available to do whatever they want to do with it. That's a cadaver. So a surgeon works with a once living person, but no longer is living. It's expired. That body is lifeless. And they get to have all of the advantages of cutting on a real body, feeling the restrictions of certain types of tissues, even with a scalpel. How to navigate inside of a cavity of an abdomen or a rib cage or a brain without the risk of loss. In trading, you want to learn how to what? Navigate the marketplace and engage without having loss. Do you think the surgeon's first procedure on a living do you think they're cool and collected? No. But they're going to lean on all the experience they gathered with cutting on those cadavers. When they were doing their case studies in the textbooks, writing out their ideas, that's not the same. That's just you writing out your model. But then when you go to that cadaver, which is a demo account or paper trading account, you're doing the theory in a setting that can't hurt you or anyone else. That's proper learning. You're doing it without any concern, psychologically or emotionally, about the outcome. You're focusing on doing what the theory suggests you're supposed to. What's the process? What's the protocol? You're following that. That's your model. Don't let anybody make fun of you and make you feel like, oh, I'm learning how to do this with a demo account. It doesn't matter. Your results are going to be yours. If your results are going to be unbelievably successful, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say that it ain't real. And are you going to care? You're going to care real money if people don't believe that how you learned was a good or bad way. You don't care. I have more students that aren't on social media because they're off doing their own thing now. Look at the young people that are making themselves available to you in these interviews. They don't have to do those interviews. They're interviewed by these companies. I don't own those companies. We don't have some kind of conspiracy together. I mean, you've heard me talk really in a very low-key anti-approach to funded accounts, if you heard what I was saying earlier. Like, I'm not a fan of them, even though I have profitable students that use them. I'm not a fan of them. That's why I will never do business with any of them. I will never have an affiliation with them. I will never say, go and join funded account and blah, blah, blah. And here's a 20% off type thing. I don't want affiliations. And when I tell you something, it's my honest opinion. No one has influenced me. They're not paying for my opinion. I will never have my opinion paid for. And I never I represent no broker whatsoever. Period. I'm not an introducing broker. Anything I tell you, it's my opinion. And I'm not monetized with that opinion. And that's why, unfortunately, my opinion isn't liked by a lot of other folks, because it infringes on the comfort they hold with their affiliations. And I don't have a problem with them having their affiliations. Listen, get your money, man. But don't hold me to that same level of, well, he must be in partnership with somebody else. I'm not. So I'm out here sharing my opinion, and it doesn't mean my opinion's right. It's just my opinion. You may take something I say and get a hair up your backside and say, well, I'm going to use this as a reason to prove ICT wrong. And then you create something entirely new. And that would be amazing. So it's not meant for me to be a reason for you not to do funded accounts. I'm just saying that everything that I felt most people would encounter, my son's experiencing that. So in many ways, I feel vindicated. And the only way I think he and anyone else will do well doing it is by never really over leveraging. Never really doing that. Trade with a very small number of contracts, even if they give you the freedom to do more. Because you're really not trading with $150,000. You're trading $3,000. And $3,000 is undercapitalized. Grossly undercapitalized. And anyone that says other than that is full of grade A cow patties. It's just the way it is, folks. Drawdown is a real part of trading. And when you burn your funded account and you burn your funded accounts, you'll feel like, well, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to be a little bit more selective, but I'm not going to change anything I've done. If over leveraging is part of it, you're going to fail. Just give it enough time, you're going to fail. If you listen to my students and other people that do, they build up these, well, they have like a deck of cards at their disposal. Multiple funded accounts. Multiple ones. Because it allows them to have a card to play when one's roasted. When it's burned, they can't use that one anymore. They have something else they can lean on. How about just have one account? Don't over leverage it. Don't demand more than it's going to pay out. Make enough money to go with a company like AMP, where it offers you real trading, very, very low margins. My son had experience with that company, and hey, it is what it is. You know, no broker's perfect. No broker's going to be perfect. You're going to complain about all of them. But that's the world, man. Like, you're not going to have a silver lining that's seen by everyone in an agreement. You're going to have your favorite things about a broker, and you're going to have these pet peeves that you don't like about them. Everybody's going to have that because they're the middleman. But I don't think your best interest is suited for only viewing funded accounts. And I've said, I just don't believe that segment of our industry is going to be allowed to stay around in the capacity that we have it right now. And that's the reason why they're, doing what they can to get what they can from whoever's willing to give it to them. Because the time is probably limited for them to do what they're doing. So if you're going to do that, do it the right way. Don't over leverage it. Make what you need to cover the cost and build up enough money to go with a real broker that allows you to trade with real funds in a real account that allows you to have more drawdown, like in the real world, greater than $3,000. Because $3,000 is nothing. Literally nothing. I spent $3,000 this morning just shopping for things that would never really cost that much 5 years ago. But if I want to stock up on stuff, that's what it costs now. But $3,000 in trading, you were really undercapitalized. And you're paying monthly dues to be undercapitalized. And you can't trade past 4 o'clock. When, sometimes earnings season, you'll see moves that are after hours, right? You'll never be able to capture any of that. Now, is that a deciding factor that should keep you from doing funded accounts? Probably not. But it's something a real brokerage account doesn't place a limit on. So Just food for thought.
So let's take a trip down memory lane about trading. You see, when I started trading, you are enjoying the DAX and the FTSE and currencies at extremely tight spreads. Back then when I traded, do you know what the spread was in the Dow intraday?
Vani take 5 Dada shadow Ola on Vani, otherwise tan lines will show.
How do you discover what your problems are? Well, what do you focus on all day long? And how do you act when you're... If you find yourself in a stressful situation, that need not be in trading, and you react in a manner that is aggressive, and anger and outburst, chances are you're a very impulsive person. That means given a opportunity to invest or trade with money, whether it be funded account, demo account, whatever, you're going to impulsively do something because inside you're a conquering warrior. That's how you internalize yourself. You see yourself as someone going out there like a gladiator. You challenging me, bro? You challenging me? Step. That's the typical male response. Admittedly, that's how I am. I was not that way when I was a young man. Growing up, I had to hold that at bay because I knew if I let it at one time, it would just go wild. And it did for a little while. And I did things I'm not proud of. But what happens if you're in a stressful situation and you clam up yourself? You're like, I don't want to do anything. And you break down. You may cry. You may have anxiety. You may freeze up and lock up and just completely shut down. In trading, that's going to be someone that never takes the step forward. You'll never have to have a comfort of saying, you know what? The outcome might not be what I want it to be. Every trade starts that way. And you have to invite the opportunity for that to be wrong. Hear what I just said there? Whereas everyone that puts a trade on now, they want, I hope it works. But I'm afraid it's probably going to stop me out. Man, and listen to the YouTubers that live stream. Listen closely. And the ones that show their face, listen closely. And the ones that show their face, I'm so thankful for because they're wonderful case studies for you. Spends more time close to their entry point. See, my trades, what I'm teaching you to do is you're going to be entering in the market where the market leaves your entry. soon. It doesn't spend time around it a lot. And the surest thing you can do in the beginning while you're learning how to trade and reading the tape is notice that when you think, okay, the market should go up or should go down here, if it doesn't immediately start to respond that way, chances are you're probably wrong. Would you have the willingness to kill that trade, eat the commission cost and whatever underneath the spread or any small little drawdown? Would you be willing to take that? Or are you the person that's going to say, even if I'm wrong, I'd still like to be able to get my stop to break even? You're worried about money. You're worried about not losing money. You're worried about being perfect. You're worried about never taking a loss. And that is going to invite the very thing happening. Understand that right now. Hearing it sounds like that can't be true. But that's exactly what it is. If you're afraid to make money because you're afraid of losing money, you're never going to make it as a trader. Because every trade that you open up is a losing trade that you have to trade your way out of. You're underneath the commission cost as soon as you put the trade in. Boom, you have whatever that cost is, the spread. You have to overcome that if you're trading in the Forex market. Commission costs with your broker. And then it's got to climb up enough to cover those costs. And how much does it need to do that before you can put your stop to break even? And just because it's going to break even, just static price action and redelivery is going to stop you out if you try to change. Too fast, so the stop loss is too tight, unless you know things, the things I'm teaching for free. So when you're journaling and you're observing old price moves, or maybe it's something you watch in a live stream, and you see me discussing something, and maybe you're at odds with, okay, he just said he thinks it's going to do this. Okay, maybe everything I'm saying in live streams, you're saying, I don't think that's going to happen. What does that indicate to you? Well, I can tell you what you're really trying to do is you're looking for an opportunity to go on social media and say, look, I guarantee you, there's thousands of people out there. They're all young men, little kids. They're all or service sellers and course sellers. They're out there with their little demo accounts and they're trying to do the opposite so they can go on social media. Look, ICT said this, and look, here's the trade I just took. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. But if you're not doing that for that purpose there, just to get clout online, what are you doing it for? Why do you feel that? Everything I'm saying in a live stream that most of the time is coming true, but why are you doubting it? Is that you being unteachable? No. I had a student of mine that was always trading against me, named Troy. I ain't gonna say his last name, but he knows if he's listening. Everything I taught, he was doing the opposite of. And then he would send me emails. He would complain and say, I don't know why it's not working. I'm pissed off. He used to be a poker player, did real well doing that. And he thought that it would be easy to walk right into trading. And I tried to explain to him, I said, listen, your superpower is that you're contrarian. There's a place for contrarians in trading. That's turtle soup trades, false breakouts, not trend following. So if you go into the marketplace looking for things like that as your opportunity, that's your model, that's your whole structure and approach to attacking price action as a man, because you're a gladiator. You see what I just did there? I maxed out personality, school of thought, the way they internalize things, and the thing that is a weakness, I turned it into a strength. That's a mentor. That's someone that knows what the fuck they're talking about and creates winners. That's someone that has done this many, many times and has failed. And those failures did not hold me down. I learned from them. And you're all out there trying to learn from these 20-year-olds that are just parroting what I'm saying. And they don't have the life experience with it. They have never made serious money. They've never lost serious money. They never went through the problems of finding it. This thing, I'm going to dig in deep. I'm going through a period where everything isn't working and I need to figure out what I'm supposed to do with no other encouragement. Right now, there's social media. You look around, you'll find someone to blow smoke up your ass. You'll find it. But if you're not fixing the root causes, these triggering things that you keep repeating, that you don't identify are problematic issues, I call them character flaws. I have them. As a teacher, as a mentor, it would be foolish for me to tell you, I don't have any problems. I don't have any issues. Of fucking course I do. I'm human. I'm absolutely human. I wish I would have held on to the trades longer. I wish I would have had more on. I wish I would have cut off more of the trade before it turned around on me. Come on. I got no problem telling you those things. That's the reality of it. But I also know when to dial in when this shit's going to be good. But you have to go through the process of seeing how you feel when you're watching price action. Do you turn it into a love story? Like, oh man, this is perfect. This is love at first sight. This fair value gap, I saw it. I walked in, there it was. The euro dollar sitting right there in the New York Hill Zone. She was fine. Look at that. Girl, turn around. Let me see what you got in the back. Oh my goodness. I'm in there. Tap. You're in that fair value gap. It's starting to run. You covered the dealing spread. Your stop loss. You're tucking up behind there a little bit behind that fair value gap low. And you're like, man, it's a romance now when you're watching price action. Are you at odds with the final boss? You're in a video game and it's like, I only got one life left. This is it. I'm on it. And I got to win this one or it's game over. I have to reset. You're putting too much emphasis on the outcome. So you need to observe what you're trying to talk yourself away from that's toxic when you're journaling. Don't record them with the toxicity. What do I mean by that? If you're watching price action, you're not demoing, you're not doing funded account challenges, you're not trading with a funded account, you're not trading with a little bit of money because I got to learn how to real money. We're going to talk about that again. You're just simply watching the tape. You're watching price action fluctuate, and you're trying to get a feel for what makes you feel like the market's going to behave a certain way. And you record that. At what minute marker do you see that happen? And describe what it is. If you don't have the ability to just, shorthand it, in other words, a couple keywords that it's going to help you remember what you were feeling at that time, record yourself audibly. At this minute marker right here, I'm watching pound dollar. At this minute marker right now, I'm watching crude oil. At this minute marker right now, I'm watching S&P. I'm watching NASDAQ. And I see this right now and what I expect to see based on my current understanding. I believe that the market's going to behave this way. It's going to go to this buy side or it's going to go to this sell side. And it should not go below this low or above this high before it does that. That's what I believe. And then at that moment, you say how confident. Describe your confidence in that happening. Even if you don't feel extremely confident about it, just say, I got a hunch that it's probably going to do this, but I'm not all that convinced yet. You need to be aware of that. At the end of that experiment, that study, in the beginning, it's fruitful for you to only focus on the side that a higher time frame bias indicates that it's likely to keep moving in one direction, higher or lower. So if you filter out everything that would be impulsive for you to take a trade on, and it may be going against that higher time bias, it filters out the likelihood, not that all of them would fail, but chances are as a new student trying to do something with money that you can't afford to lose, trying to spend money on funded account challenges that you can't afford to spend yet, not getting the results that you're hoping for, and then that compounds and builds up inside of you. And then you have to wrestle through that like weeds and thorn bushes because the destination you have in front of you of successful trading and consistently profitable, it gets barriers placed in front of it. Thorn bushes, snares, all these booby traps. You're laying that in front because the last time you did this, you got hurt. So you're not getting closer to your objective and your destiny. You're creating barriers because you're doing all the wrong things, not realizing that that's causing an impediment to your progress. Because you think you're going to do something to circumvent the need to go through all the things that are required for you to do it correctly. It's better to do the things I'm telling you to do and avoid the things I tell you to avoid, because you won't have to second guess and think about, did I do it the right way? You'll have very little to go back on once you get there and say, you know what, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Contrast that with, well, I listened to Swaggy. He said, go out there and start with real money because I have to learn with real money. That's foolish knowledge. That's not even knowledge. That's misinformation. If you take something from other influencers, and he ain't the only one that's ever said that, but I take odds at that, because when you monetize your right or wrong in the beginning, because you elevate every transaction, every idea on the basis of right or wrong, I'm not promoting the idea that you need to worry about being right and wrong. These jokers that try to say that stuff, they're literally twisting everything I've ever taught. You don't need to be right. It's not about being right. It's about being profitable. But they'll take my words, twist it around, and act like they come up with something. You remove the necessity about being right. If you remove that, that means there's no emotional tie to it. You have no psychological arm wrestling match now to prove to yourself or anyone else that you're right. You don't need to be right. But you won't identify what those triggering things are inside you that are intrusive thoughts that become materialized and manifested into losing money. And you will not, I guarantee you, you will not, if you do those things and you lose money, you're going to fault me. You're going to fault everybody else you followed in the Discord room or that Telegram channel or that YouTube guy or that person live streaming. I lost all my money. Listen to your ass. And they're going to fault find, and they're going to push all the responsibility off themselves. I've seen this happen. I've seen it. But the question is what do you do with all the hundreds of thousands of people that are making money with it? They learned the same thing. What are they doing differently? What did you do? And every time I've asked, they always either expose themselves of this, they didn't do the right work. They were not using the things they were taught. Are you teachable? Are you willing to listen? You're here today listening to this. And your mind is the first tool that's responsible for you to make the right steps going forward. And if you allow it to be clouded with fear, anxiety, premature self-worth to high levels of I want to be respected and almost borderline worshipped online, you're doing it wrong. And you need to fix that. You got to do some house cleaning. But when you're journaling, you need to discover what that root catalyst was that caused you the uncertainty about an idea when you were watching price, or what gave you superhuman level confidence. What was those triggering factors? And if it's a negative, you have to say, for instance, let's say like this. Say you're watching a NASDAQ and you're tape reading and you're doing the drills that I'm going to teach you guys this week. And you get into one and you don't really feel confident that it's going to behave like you would like to see it behave, but you still do the exercise and you press the demo and you want to watch how long it takes you to get stopped out or run to the target. But as soon as you press the button, you feel regret. Like I should have waited. What that's going to do is, number one, you're doing it with a demo. But if you feel that, and it may only happen for a second internally, what that's highlighting is, even on a demo where nobody else can see it, you feel the pressure of having it correct. Now you have an opportunity. So many times you're hiding that stuff, the things that you have to sweep up and clean up in your head. All these intrusive thoughts, all these hindering spirits that are keeping you from finding the success you're looking for, you're letting them live with you. You're making the bed for them. You're feeding them constantly, 3 meals in a cot every single day. You're feeding these intrusive thoughts, these demons. They're going to hold you back. You're allowing them to live rent-free in your life consuming all of your productivity, all of your progress. It's stealing your future success. Like a vampire, it's sucking the life marrow out of you. You don't even realize it. But when you journal, it puts a microscope right over top of that. And you're in that fortress of solitude. You're not going to talk about these things with me. You're not going to talk about it with the people online. It's safe. It's safe for you to do this. It's a controlled environment. Nothing bad can happen. It's only upside. It's only upside doing these things. And it makes you better as a person. It will make you better as a trader. And it'll help you wrestle fear of missing out, greed, over trading, over leveraging. All those things are corrected with a journal. And you wonder why these same influencers online have to keep resetting their funded account challenges, and they keep blowing up. They're dancing around, carrying on entertaining you, but they keep blowing up. And you ask them, do you journal? No. Come on, man. And you're wondering why they're constantly having to publicly reset. They got to constantly keep doing that. And if they just would listen, put their pride aside and just listen, because this is good medicine, folks. This is good medicine. No one successful in trading falls into it by accident. It's an earned skill set, and it will not ever be easy for anyone. Even if you listen to everything I'm telling you to do, which is not because it's mine, because it's rooted in pure psychology. Sound logic. When you remove the sugary sweet, and you already owe it to me last week, and you better give it to me in a 5-minute video, or I'm not interested. I'm not going to follow you. I say, if you have the time to sit down and write that, like, you owe us this, you owe us that, or I'm not going to, don't follow me. I'm not going to change my lifestyle because you didn't follow me or you don't support me or like me. I don't give a shit about that. None of you people matter that much to me. Okay, that's the truth. None of you matter that much to me. Waste the opportunity when someone like myself is willing to teach you for free, and when I've done it with other people, and the things that they do are all linked to the things I'm telling you here today. You have to journal. Don't hide from your character flaws. You do it, and you find that by how you feel. When you're doing these exercises, do you feel like, okay, I'm going to make this is what he told me I should reach for, and I target that, but I'm going to do this. What's that tell you? You're trying to stretch the boundaries because you're competitive. You're fucking competitive, right? Okay. You want to race Volt with a fucking leg cast on? Because that's exactly what you're trying to say you're going to do. Yeah, I'm going to run this faster than a guy that's done world records, which is what most of the influencers online have against me. They don't like that. They don't like the fact that I can do this all the time, every single day. They don't like it because it casts a very large shadow on them. I'm talking to them here too. I'm not talking down to them. I'm talking to them as a peer. Hey, you're in the same industry I am. I'm not a giant. I'm not somebody that should be worshipped or looked up to. I don't like when people do that to me. But these people want that. If they listen to me like I'm trying to teach you to do it, they will be better traders, better mentors, and they will be pillars in the industry that deserve recognition. Because right now, they don't deserve it. They don't. All of them have the capability of getting there. And some of you probably aspire to be like that. Listen to me, because you'll do it far better. You'll do it without drama marketing, because that shit doesn't work. That never works. It just casts a viewpoint that's easily fostered in a large degree of the attendance of onlookers, and they'll immediately make their decision right away. Oh, this guy, he's a lot of drama. Or this woman's got too much shit going on. And you'll never have your voice heard. So when you're developing yourself, you have to take that time and that energy and consider yourself worth it. A lot of you think, well, I ain't got time for journaling. What you're saying is you're not fucking worth the time and the investment in identifying how you can improve yourself and put yourself on the highest degree of performance. That's really what you're saying when you say, I do not want to journal. I don't want to do that. I don't want to put a progress of measuring my progress in black and white in front of me where I can look at where my progress started and where I'm at today. That's how you know you can do it, because you see the things that you're learning. See, if you don't write it down, you're going to forget it. If you don't write it down, you're never going to remember it and revisit it. If someone, after you were long gone, finds your journal, are they going to read the diary of a madman that was so abusive to themselves? Or, wow, this person was very encouraging to themselves. And I can see that they have identified their progress. See, you all want to see trade statistics. Bro, show me your MyFX book. Bro, show me that you got on the leaderboard on the funded account challenge or whatever it is. I can't think of the, I don't know how they work, but I know TopStat has a leaderboard. I don't know if the other companies do. Get on the Robbins Cup or we don't believe you, okay? This is a litmus test for idiots. It is, it really is. Because what you're saying is you have to see somebody else show you something. And let's be honest, if everything's shown to that type of person, they're still not going to do anything. They're just going to be mad and huff and puff and just go and try to troll somebody else. So it's not that they want to be inspired to learn how to do what you're learning how to do. They're just in here to try to find some kind of talking point. But you do very similar things in the beginning if you're not guarded. You want the opinions of others to support you and encourage you. Why should anybody that's not a part of this community think now? If they're not already a part of this group here, why would you expect them to encourage you? That's insanity. You're asking someone on the outside to have the same perspective or a higher opinion of what you're trying to do and learn than you do yourself. And then you're weighing the delivery of that opinion being favorable for you as a basis for you to continue. Going up to a blind man and say, hey, which flower here is prettier? Is it this one here in my right hand, or which one is it? Is it the left hand or the right hand? Which one's prettier? How the fuck does he know? And that's exactly what you're doing with everybody else. You're saying, hey, look, what do you think? The only thing they got to go on is everybody else's opinion. And if it's a positive, you're a cultist. You're all brainwashed. You're not seeing me call price. You're not seeing me execute. You're not seeing those things. You're not seeing other students making real money with it. You're not seeing that. They ignore that. So how can you take their opinion as balanced? But you're still asking the ether. You're tossing it out there on social media. Hey, what do you think about ICT's concept of this and that and the other thing? If they're a little dick energy guy, they're going to say, oh, yeah, he lifted. I had a guy this morning. 90% of everything ICT teaches, he got it from somebody else. We're still waiting. We're still waiting for somebody to come out and say, here's exactly where ICT got order blocks from, and the mean threshold, and institutional order flow entry drill, and all the things I teach. There's a long list of shit. It never happens. But because they know that your mentality is wrapped around this 30-second TikTok duration. You have short attention spans. You're wondering why people are stupid today? It's because they've stopped teaching. It's all about feelings. It's about having experiences online. We don't have conversations anymore. You don't sit down and write with a pen and pad a letter or sit down and type out a letter. It's throw it to me in a text, throw it to me in a post on social media, and hey, you're my buddy, you're my friend. That's bullshit. When I talk to you, I care about the audience that's I'm targeting. I'm talking to my children. That's why you listen to me, because you feel the sense of urgency for me to communicate this importance. Because the audience is my own flesh and blood. So I'm not going to shortchange them. I don't give a fuck if Tom, Dick, and Harry's fucking mentorship guy out there says he talks too much. He could have did this and did that. These people that do these 5-minute trainers, they're not doing shit. They're wasting your time because the only thing they're doing is creating these very barriers that you don't realize are going to be appearing in front of you. You want it to happen for you fast. Well, guess what happens? When you try to do it and it doesn't happen fast for you, what do you think? Man, I can't do this. When I'm telling you, expect it going in, it's going to be hard. When you come into this, you're all dirt. You're just dirty. You don't have anything that shines, nothing. You have a desire, but you're still just dirt. There's nothing that shines about you as a trader. But you have to refine that, go through a process and change that. And then you can mold that, apply a little bit of sweat. What's that? That's moisture. And you can now take that dirt and shape it into something, mold it like pottery. And you shape that future self after constantly refining it. And it doesn't happen overnight. And I've never said it's going to be a fast process. I said it's going to be a lot of work. Not because it's hard to learn these things. The concepts are straightforward.
Let me give you an idea of the kind of technical analysis that I deploy. I think
the internet is the biggest wealth creation engine to ever exist. Sadly, only a relative few have been able to participate in it. At Replit, we believe that the next generation of software creators can come from anywhere in the world. And that starts with access. Access that lets you build anything, all at the speed of your ideas. So today,
how do you discover what your problems are? Well, what do you focus on all day long?
Whiskey talking. No, that's not. That's not whiskey talking. Whiskey just numbed them enough to let them have no inhibitions. Without inhibitions, the real person manifests themselves. And that's what happens when you get with trading with live money. You're drunk. You're driving drunk right now with a live account with no experience. You're under the influence of what? Trying to make money. And nobody's there that can take the keys from you. So you have to know these things before you do it. Because you don't want to find out that you are a nasty, violent drunk that crashes when you get with live money. That's why you have to do this in demo. You're going to find your character flaws that causes those same individuals to go to alcohol to self-medicate. They know what's going on, but they won't share it with anybody to help get themselves through it. Failed relationship, midlife crisis, anxiety, generalized anxiety, I'm sure is a major contributing factor. But all those things and other things that the list is too long. You've been hurt, you've been scarred, a bad relationship, you broke up, you're lonely, whatever that is, leads them to alcohol or substance abuse. And trading is in that too. It is the same thing, folks. It's the same thing. I have never been drunk with alcohol. Now, I guess you can say I've been, high from CBD oil. It had THC in it, and I needed it for my back. It was very much appreciated. I haven't done it in 2 years or more now. But I can tell you this, if I have another episode where I was going through it like I did then, I would gladly do it. And I was opposed to anything marijuana. I don't smoke it. I've never smoked it. I've never smoked anything like that. But I am not against it. I don't think you should be trading under the influence of it because I was really relaxed. But the point is, trading with live money, if you don't know yourself, you don't know your model, and you don't know the way the market is behaving, and you haven't seen at least 4 quarters or a full year of what seasonality looks like, you have no baseline. You have no idea. So that's equivalent to you flying into a city you've never been, heartbroken, angry because someone left you, you got fired, you got a cancer diagnosis, 6 months to live, and now you're in a hotel where there is a high-end bar right across the street. What are you going to do? You're going to go there and medicate yourself. But how are you going to conduct yourself after that? You don't know. So why would you do that with live money? You don't know what you're going to do to yourself. And you don't know the consequences that you're going to do to yourself as a result of whatever it is you do while you're drunk. Trading with live money, losing that, the pain that that's going to bring on because you weren't ready, and you're going to know that you weren't ready when you were ignoring that you knew beforehand. And that's going to present all kinds of scar tissue. That's going to promote you to do what? Make bad decisions. And now you have fear. When teaching my students to operate and learn about themselves in a demo, that's what the demo's there for. But they tell you, here, learn our platform, learn how to trade the patterns that you do with the demo. Well, you think you watched a video by me or someone else or read a book? That's what I did. Well, I know what that looks like, a 1, 2, 3 top. Oh yeah, it's a descending wedge and that's a head and shoulder. I'm ready. You're not. I wasn't. This is the way it is, folks. But the demo is there for you to discover who you are. What makes you tick? Where are you impulsive? See, that's what it takes to do this. And anybody that tells you otherwise is full of shit. And that's just the way it is. They have some kind of ulterior motive. They have something to sell you. They want to derail you. But I'm telling you, you can do this. But you're going to have to submit to a lot more time than you want to. But once you learn how to do it and you know what sets you off, what makes you feel impulsive, what are the triggering mechanisms in your personal life, in your thinking? Are you wrestling with a mental illness that makes you do certain things that are not supportive for a successful endeavor in trading, that you have to now find coping mechanisms? Are you a drunk? Are you a drug user? If you are, you need to tackle that, because trading will not work with that. Are you in a toxic relationship? If it is that you're in a toxic relationship, you either fix the relationship or leave it. And if you've been